Priscilla.
You're most welcome.
Much appreciated.
I want to first understand, you as Toshi, when did you first fall in love with tourism?
Very good question. I think I fell in love with tourism while I was in my mother's tomb.
You don't say.
My mother's womb.
Okay.
Yes, yes.
You were mesmerized by the arteries, the veins that were passing by you.
I'm a natural-born enthusiast of tourism, and I think tourism in Uganda is the game changer. So I'll quickly tell you about Umoja Conservation Trust, and then we'll go to the details of why we're here on the World Tourism Day. So Umoja Conservation Trust was established at the heart of COVID-19. Brilliant people put their heads together through the chairpersonship of Justice Amoti Rugadia. And we have very established personnel like Dr. Charles Kojo, an excellent conservationist, Dr. Sarah Kello, another brilliant conservationist, Dr. Victoria Sechitoleko, one of the first presidents of the NRM government, General Ivan Koreta, Mr. Maurice Amogola, myself, and very many other brilliant guys who formulate the board, advisory board, and the committee. What we thought was that rather than sit down during the heart of COVID, why don't we utilize this time to grow trees? Because these trees will provide fruit, they'll provide an economy, and they'll protect our natural resources, which then are the arteries of Uganda's tourism. So we're here for one major reason, to tell Ugandans that on this day of World Tourism Day, if Uganda is to continue its comparative advantage of tourism, we must conserve.
Which brings us to the theme, Rethinking Tourism, as the theme for this year's celebration. How are you, through the Conservation Trust, actually rethinking the design of tourism that we presently have to attract bigger markets out there?
Fantastic. Very good question, Priscilla. Umoja Conservation Trust thinks that SDG number 17 is the game changer. And Uganda's government laws, the NDP3, the Vision 2040, the NRM manifesto of this current Chisanja, is very clear on that. So Umoja Conservation Trust has had deliberate interventions with the Cultural Heritage Association of Uganda, Uganda National Culture Center, and Ministry of Tourism, Wildlife and Antiquities. What we're thinking here is that can we position our national cultural heritage as Uganda as the overriding gift that we have as compared to any other country. If you look carefully and closely, our culture is closely knit with our environment. The more forest we lose, the more culture we decimate. And we're coming up with the aspect of saying to have a future of tourism, we must rethink our strategy. Uganda must think differently. Let's learn from the mess of the COVID-19, the pandemic that has put us down. Countries like China, out of $90 billion they earn annually from tourism, during the lockdown, they made $60 billion from domestic tourism. So we're here to rethink tourism, not only in the world, but in Uganda. And we think the starting point is identifying the National Tourism Day of Uganda, separate from the World Tourism Day. And we selfishly suggest Independence Eve, which is 8th October, to be our National Patriotic Day, our National Natural Resources Day, but also our National Cultural Heritage Day, to position Uganda as the best ethnically diverse nation in the world. What are we thinking? The Uhuru Culture Festival. Uganda has some of the best cultural performances in the world. And if we just tapped into that, people would fly from all over the world and come here. Why do we suggest 8th October? It's the day Uganda received its independence. Now we know for a fact that this baby called Uganda is 60 years today. So much has changed. Our cultures have evolved. Ugandans have become so many. For us to have sustainable tourism, we must delve into new products, new strategies, and we think cultural heritage tourism is the way to go.
Okay.
Well in line.
One of the strategies that you have shared is the 60-year celebration, and now you're going to be marking that through putting up 60 million trees. That's
Yes.
a very interesting strategy.
Yes, Priscilla. Why? We're 45 million Ugandans. Imagine just 10 of a million every day ate a jackfruit or a mango, kept it, and on the weekend planted it. Every day, from now to October next year. How many trees would we have? So it's doable. But what we're trying to communicate, we're trying to tell Ugandans that for us to continue harnessing for our tourism, we must create alternatives to our energy. We must create alternatives from our natural resources for our livelihood. So the 60 million trees for Uganda at 60 campaign is strategically rethinking our tourism model. We want to let the communities around our natural resources, to let them flourish, let the animals thrive. So minimize that daily pressure automatically caused by population explosion, take it to the communities. And it's for this reason that we call upon every Ugandan, wherever you are, every lodge owner, every hotel owner, establish a community forest in your premises. This will be the center for transforming Uganda's thinking. It will be a center for education, but also it will be a learning center where people know that I must be self-reliant. It's very, very important for us as a nation if we're going to tap into our tourism potential for the next 50, 30 years to protect our few natural resources.
The next 50, 30 years have been, of course, deterred with the COVID-19 pandemic. And I know because of how you've greatly expressed, you were born in tourism, the stomach of tourism. Can you give us, in your perspective, tourism before COVID-19, tourism between COVID-19, the 2 years, and then post-COVID-19, what do those three phases look like for us here in Uganda? And then from that analysis, could you have for us a picture that can show us the future of tourism?
Fantastic. Thank you very much, Priscilla. Pre-COVID-19, tourism was exciting. I think Uganda earned probably about $1.5, $1.6 billion annually out of that. Extremely, the best performance we had over the years. And that, again, we thank the NRM strategic leadership for tapping into that. You know, if you look at the strategic growth of figures, 20 years ago, we were nowhere close to 200,000 visitors annually. But until the 2018, 2019, probably were hitting 1.92 million visitors annually. So it was very exciting. Then, boom, the slump. No travel, 90% of the fleet are down. How do you move? And then we wake up and realize that actually the sustainable tourism path is domestic tourism. So the slump has woken us up, and hence the first World Tourism Day is telling us rethink tourism. So the rethinking of tourism is Uganda must tap into its cultural heritage potential. Let's position Uganda's culture. Let's have cultural tourism products. The Independence Monument is one such product. I give one example is that we have a beautiful, beautiful shrine where we lost 48 Polish refugees in Masindi, in the Budongo forest. That's a fantastic cultural heritage site. And that's the game changer of tourism. So every person in Uganda, wherever you are, join the Uganda at 60 million trees campaign. Join the world as we celebrate the World Tourism Day by planting a tree, yes, but also by pushing Uganda at 60 celebrations on the 8th of October at the Independence Monument.
Okay, all right. So as if that's not enough, post-COVID-19, there's been budget cuts to the tourism industry through the ministry, and that does not paint a good picture of what exactly you were saying. Those are conflicting things that are present for us today. So this, I know, is greatly affecting an industry from which government is expecting billions of dollars from.
Yeah, it's a catch-22. I wouldn't want to be in government's shoes, where the source envelope is so small, very competing challenges, competing priorities. It's tough for any leader. But look, I think the game changer is we Ugandans taking the tourism marketing destination by our own selves. If each and every Ugandan was an ambassador, if every MP, wherever they travel, talked about Uganda's culture, Uganda's food, Uganda's, name it, we do not need much. Together, collectively, we can change this. And that's why we're saying, as we celebrate the World Tourism Day for Ugandans, let us reposition ourselves in our own small way by visiting our own country. We call upon Uganda Airlines to have strategic cuts, if not offers. If we could have a 60% cut for every Ugandan coming to Uganda in December to plant the 60 million trees, to celebrate Uganda's culture, and then have a return. So Uganda Airlines would have performed an excellent duty for us, rather than the planes flying half empty. So those are simple things we need to do as us that can change.
So domestic tourism is a good idea, but one of the things that is going to be challenging domestic tourism is the fact that those that are operators and participants of tourism are not really doing it for domestic tourism, unfortunately.
Yes.
The initial establishment was for them to attract the foreigners to come in and enjoy the beauty of our very own country. Now, one of the issues is the taxing. When it comes to you as a local, and then you're meant to pay in dollars as a local when you actually pay your taxes in shillings, but then these people are asking you to pay in dollars. I will tell you, there's a place I wanted to go to, but they were insisting I pay in dollars, and I told her, but I'm Ugandan, I'm not supposed to be paying in dollars. And so that causes you to think, nah, not worth it if I'm going to be subjected to such things. So these, among others, are going to be hindering us to enjoy the domestic tourism. What would be your recommendations for those that are in the operation of tourism, what do you recommend that they actually have to adjust so that they can consider both foreign and domestic tourism?
Well, before we get to what they have to adjust, let's talk about the positives. I think the Ministry of Tourism, Wildlife and Antiquities has been very spot on a strategic partnership of promoting domestic tourism. Probably what needs to be done is more sensitization and awareness. There's no Ugandan who's expected to pay in dollars. And if there's any hotel out there or lodge that's charging Ugandan in dollars, probably they need to think twice. And again, these are lessons we've learned from the COVID-19 pandemic. So probably you might want to check your facts right there. But two, again, we're saying Ugandans should not only be visitors, should not only be consumers, but should be investors. Every Ugandan around a natural resource should be able to have Airbnb, should be able to tell the story of Uganda's independence, for example, as an intangible cultural heritage, should be able to tap into whatever sort it is. I thank private investors in museums like John Sempebo and many others, and Timothy Tomosime. They have seen that there's a gap, and Ugandans love to know their history, and they're looking big from students visiting their private museums. That's just one aspect where Ugandans can benefit. When you visit these museums, you're never going to pay in dollars. It's never going to happen. So, information to you is the government has done some quite good work. Should they do more? Absolutely. Absolutely. It's important for us to be our own best consumers if we're going to sustain this industry called tourism. For information, countries like Ethiopia, Eswatini, Egypt earn $3, $4, $5 billion annually out of cultural heritage tourism, which is purely civic pride, which is purely patriotic tourism. Yes. Okay,
all right. In your closing remarks.
Thank you very much, Priscilla. First of all, I want to thank NTV Uganda for a wonderful job over the years. And thank you for the special partnership that we have for not only greening Uganda, but also establishing tourism as a sustainable socio-economic transformation avenue for Ugandans. That's one. Two, happy anniversary to all Ugandans. Happy 60th anniversary in advance. And three, let's rethink our tourism strategy as we come from the COVID-19. Let's see how we can help Uganda strategically locate its cultural heritage potential so that we can really tap into this huge diamond within the Uganda Diamond Jubilee.
All right.
Yes.
Thank you so much, Toshi Wana, who's the founding trustee with Umoja Conservation Trust. And of course, I like the strategy that they're going 60 million trees between this October and October 2023. We shall be keeping tabs on that. It's still morning at NTV. We do return shortly.